Hello and welcome to Flicks and Chill with me, Luke, and
Jane.
that is right. And this is our podcast where we talk about anything we want. But as always, we'll rant or rave about one thing. Then we discuss one pop culture news, and our big topic today is all about westerns. Specifically, Shane, what were you thinking when it comes to westerns?
Figured we'd talk a little bit about like what draws us to or what doesn't draw us to this
Hmm.
genre.
Hmm.
Obviously, we're coming from very different places, seeing as I'm an American, and
Yes,
like the Western is one of the most American genres of film.
100%.
And talking about that in general, and then we are going to do our top five
Yes.
Westerns. And I've watched many a Western and love many a Western, so throwing a lot of honorable mentions, places to go check out,
Hmm.
filmmakers and stuff like
Hmm.
that. So, just a general thoughts on the Western genre.
Yes. Quick question about this is probably we should have done pre-show, but hey, why not discuss it now? How did you approach your top five? Did you include any neo-westerns or just
I did.
pure westerns?
So, I included anything that would be involved in that category of being a Western. So, it
Okay.
could be a neo Western, it could be a weird Western, it
Okay.
could be, and we'll discuss all
Yes.
the all the different layers of that because films don't have to fit into just one bucket, and that's the fun thing.
100%. Okay. Okay. And then as always, we'll finish with a quick recommend from each of us. So Shane, why don't you take it off? Wait, take it off. Why don't you take
Oh
it and
my.
Flicks and Chill After Dark coming soon. Follow us on OnlyFans for only 9.99. No, why don't you start? Is that Are we raving today or are we ranting today?
I'm going to continue to rave, and I
Okay.
want to talk about some physical media because this also
Mm.
relates to the. I have a specific thing about this for my pop culture
Hmm.
news. So I love Criterion
Yes.
Collection, and I know it's a little bit difficult outside of the United States because I know it doesn't like ship everywhere
Nope.
because
As a person living in the
Adam,
UK,
Adam, yeah,
yes.
Adam has specifically complained about
Hmm.
this so many times on his own show, in our own discussions.
Hmm.
But me being privileged of being in the United States and having access to all of these, and are they expensive? Yes. But do they throw 50% off sales your way
Oh.
multiple times a year from Criterion themselves or Barnes and Noble? They sure do. And they put so much effort
Hmm.
into them, and whether it's you're getting older films from that director or shorts from earlier in their career, all this background documentary and all the like booklets inside them, and some of them that are box sets have a lot of extra stuff too.
Hmm.
And they do so much work to remaster them and everything. And obviously they're going back and redoing a lot of them in 4K. I side mini rant is why don't you start with the ones that are out of print?
Yep.
Like, what are we doing here? And I know there's a whole bunch of shenanigans in terms of like rights
Hmm.
issues and stuff like that. But I feel like that's where you should start. Because trust me, I do actually have a really old Yojimbo, like
Oh.
original Criterion DVD, and it looks old at this point. And I just think that Criterion is such a great thing. And like obviously side shout outs to like Umbrella and Shout Factory and Kino Lorber or Arrow Video and all the other like
Yep.
boutique labels for physical media because they're keeping film alive, and I love that. So kudos to them.
Yes. So in a year of our Lord 2026, I am not often say, I would not often say I wish I be, I would be an American. Like, yeah, I don't really say that a lot because I'm fine where I am.
Fair.
However, every time I see you guys in our Slack channel post, hey, Criterion or Barnes& and Noble have 50% off on Criterion, let's go. And that's one of the few times I'm like, I wish I was an American too. I want to fucking go shop because, like, look, in the UK
Yeah.
we get some Criterion in our like HMB and all that. Great, but they are quite expensive, and it's not like we get all of them. Like, I think there's always like a select, like they have like a one, like a side of a wall just for Criterions, and we they don't, because of that, they don't really get any like discounts on them or any proper discounts. With other movies, you get, oh yeah, this movie used to be, I don't know, 18.99, now it's 12.99. Cool, and it's a 4K. Great. But with Criterions, that's one of the few things I wish I was an American so I could just go. Also, we didn't discuss this. I didn't know you were going to talk about this, but a few days ago, I stumbled upon somebody posted this someplace on Reddit. A guy, I think it was a guy, has made the effort to make a Criterion Closet website. So he actually animated, like it's like basically like animated website where it feels like you're standing in a Criterion Closet
Oh, that's pretty cool.
and you're clicking on the covers and it like shows you all about the movies and stuff, everything they have. He's gone through all of it, so it's like 1,000, almost 300 movies they have right now, like something like that. So he
Yeah,
has he put many hours to do this, and it looks pretty cool. I was like fucking around for like a minute or two, and I was like, oh, that is very cool. So I'll find that link and I'll try to put it in the description of this episode because like I thought it was pretty cool for any cinephile to see.
that's pretty wild.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one, if I ever won the lottery or came into a windfall of money, like
Mm-hmm.
an obscene windfall of money, the first thing I would do is buy the whole entire Criterion collection.
Same.
Like
Same. Yes.
it's just like done, and there goes a lot of money, but it would be worth it. And I appreciate these boutique uh labels that are keeping cinema
Mm-hmm.
alive and
Mm-hmm.
movies alive and classic film alive, and being able to, like, I last time I walked into Barnes and Noble, you just have a whole entire rack of Criterion, and it's so cool. And now the Barnes and Noble I went to has a whole entire section just for Arrow
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and a whole entire wall of A24's
Oh,
releases,
nice.
because like the audience won't be able to see, but I have the souvenir and the souvenir part two on
Nice.
one of these A24 specific releases and stuff like that. And they're really cool and
Mm-hmm.
very unique looking.
Mm-hmm.
And I would buy every single one of those too. Just saying.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, so
I was just
yay,
imagining.
Criterion.
Yes, I was just imagining if I bought the entire Criterion Closet, right? Living here, do you think they would still give me free shipping? Like,
They better. Like the president of like the CEO of the Criterion organization should show up at your front door with just the whole entire thing.
I would just imagine the post table like, oh, so this is worth, let's say, like $50,000. Okay, we'll buy all of it. And I just imagine my post table like, wait, a pallet or two just of these to one guy. Ah, what the fuck?
They
It's
should
like,
call it the Tracy Letts collection. Like,
yep, yeah.
you've joined the Tracy Letts club because he owns all of them.
The meme is like, if I won a lottery, I wouldn't tell anybody, but there would be signs. There would be my sign. Like, if I won a lottery, like, I wouldn't tell many people, but there would be signs. It's like, oh, hey, look, step into my, like, actual Criterion closet in my house. Take a
It'd
look
be
at.
like one of those old episodes of MTV Cribs,
Yep,
and your crib is just a regular flat, except the Criterion closet inside.
yep,
So there
100%.
you go. So that is my rave today.
So we're both raving because so recently I've had a dental emergency. Everything is sorted now. And apparently I've been brushing my teeth wrong my entire life. So that's always cool to hear for, almost being 35. Like no shame at all. I wasn't, I felt no shame. But my rave is, look, UK has its problems, you know,
Mhm.
but the cost of health and dental is still affordable. And because of perks of my job, most of the money I put into that dental emergency is already back on my account because we have a insurance through, or I have an insurance through, private insurance for both dental and like health insurance on top of what we already
Yep.
have. Just to like, sometimes if you need to see somebody very quickly or to cover shit like that. And it's like, oh yeah. And I would like just to rave about how this should not just be here or Europe, this should be all over the world because health should be a universal right.
Well, Luke's baiting me into a rant today. I'm just going to mention just a few of my least favorite things that the government in the United States is currently spending its money on instead of things that actually could help people.
Yep.
Let's see. We invaded and took over Venezuela,
Hmm.
where we started a war with Iran.
It's not a war, it's a conflict. Have you heard that? That's a great talking point from the right. It's not actually war, like it's a conflict.
Bankrolling Israel.
Our
Because,
closest ally. This is your closest ally, Shane. You know they better.
you know who the closest ally of America is? The American people.
Yeah.
And you'd be spending the money on us.
Hmm.
Let's see. Uh, Painting the reflecting pool in front of the monuments that is now chipping away and
Yep.
has created a whole entire ecosystem of algae. So,
Don't forget the
those are just a
ballroom.
few. Ah, yes, and the UFC fight on the lawn that supposedly was for our America's 250th birthday and not for Donald Trump's 80th birthday.
Hmm.
Um, I can go on, but I'm
Yeah.
not gonna
Yeah.
because that's just gonna make me mad, and I'm on vacation vibes right now.
Exactly.
So, you know, there's so many things we could be not spending our money on and helping people.
Hmm.
But F us, and this is what we get when we F around and find out. Thanks, America.
Yep. No, but I'll just say honestly, like even if I didn't have the private insurance, it would still like my dental bill was about 200 pounds, which is about I don't know $200, like 180 maybe, something like that. But it's still that's fairly
I'm sure it would
like
have been $5,000 here.
see that's the thing. In
Yeah.
America, I think that same dental emergency probably would set me back quite a few zeros.
So,
And I'm like, you know what? Like UK, and again, UK is not a paradise of a place. We're not like rolling around like, whistling how happy we are all the time. Trust me, there are a bunch of problems here. But we still have it pretty good. We still have it pretty good. So like my rave is I am very happy at where I am right now, and thank you, UK. Thank you for NHS.
well, good for you, and
Thank
I'm happy for you, my friend.
you. Thank you.
So,
So you mentioned your pop culture news is
yes.
physical media related.
So, this better be exactly what this teaser is teasing us to be, is that Criterion's releasing a Stanley Kubrick collection.
Oh, that'd be so awesome.
So, I already own all the Wes Anderson movies,
Yeah.
and I wasn't particularly concerned going out of my way
Hmm.
to buy that Wes Anderson collection.
Even though it looked cool.
Yes, but
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
if they're releasing a Stanley Kubrick complete collection, I am buying that shit.
Yes.
I will save up, allocate that money, and I will buy that for the $500 that it's probably gonna be.
Is it? Oh, okay. I was gonna say, did they
Oh,
announce price?
no, they didn't. So I will see. Here's the thing. Criterion each are like $40, $50, not
Mm.
on sale and stuff like that. So like it's probably gonna be expensive, but
Yep. Yep.
I will be getting it or asking multiple people to chip in and buy it for a gift.
So are they
Um,
all 4K? Have they announced? Because I don't actually know they've announced it or a like
they haven't announced
ah
details. They have just released a teaser,
ah
and this teaser is getting me way too excited.
ah.
I was messaging Adam about it because I'm like, oh my god.
Mhm.
So that has honestly gotten me more excited than anything else in pop culture.
Nice.
So there you go.
I do own quite a few Stanley Kubrick movies already,
I do too, but
but no, of course, like but like a nice Criterion collection, I would not say no because I still have some to own. Like I don't think I own like Eyes Wide Shut. I don't think I have Spartacus, and obviously like the other ones like Lolita I don't own. Like the other like quote unquote lesser known, even though they are not. And it's what 14 movies altogether.
Yeah, it's not that many.
Yeah.
And that's the exciting part,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that this could actually be a complete collection.
Yep.
I even have one of his earliest films plus a short documentary film on a Kino Lorber
Nice.
release
Mm-hmm.
because they actually had it in their collection. So, oh, I'm so excited for that. So, bring it on.
Same. Same. So my new movie news. Have you heard of the new Ari Aster movie Scapegoat, Shane?
Yes.
Have you read what is it about? Or what is it supposed to be about?
Yes.
So for audiences, I want to discuss this for a bit.
Yeah.
So I copied and pasted this so because this is wild. Sources tell Nexus Point News that Scapegoat, name of the movie, will be centered on a surgeon played by Scarlett Johansson. I'm in. Like you can stop right there. I'm in.
Yeah.
Johansson's character is tasked to operate on a Jake Paul inspired character who dies during the surgery. The film will follow the fallout of his death and the scrutiny the surgeon will face primarily by the film's main antagonist, the character's wife and brother. The wife will be inspired by Erika Kirk, and the brother will be inspired by Logan Paul. And
Unhinged.
so I will say this about this movie. It's a very 2025 movie, 100%. This will definitely not be divisive at all, 100%, not controversial at
100%.
least. However, any other director announces this movie, I'm like, we don't need this shit. What are you doing? Ari Aster, the master
Eddington.
of poking people about, hey, this issue, this issue, this issue. Yeah, I've just watched Eddington, and he knows how to poke people. And I kind of, and like this kind of uncomfortableness he is very comfortable in, I kind of am a bit excited. Like, I didn't know I needed this movie, but I am excited. Even though I'm not vibing it all, like, even with Eddington, I don't know if I fully vibed with, but I liked it. So, yeah, and again, Scarlett Johansson and Ari Aster movie. This is gonna be wild.
It's so I have thoughts about this film, this
Hmm.
idea and such. I also have some thoughts on the evolution of some of our new modern
Hmm.
filmmakers
Hmm.
that have really started rising up. And like one, this movie sounds unhinged.
Yep.
It's gonna be wild, and I'm gonna be ready for it.
Hmm.
And yes, there's no way in hell this is gonna be divisive at all.
Nope.
And when the wife comes out at a giant speech with fireworks and everything after his death, I'm gonna be laughing in the theater. But I trust Ari Aster to make an unhinged, crazy, twisted film that has something interesting to say about this.
Hmm.
What's interesting to me, and because you have Ari Aster's, you have like Ari Aster and Alex Garland are two filmmakers who they have a new film coming out. I am super excited about it.
Hmm. Yep.
Would I be more excited about them if they were more like some of the earlier films?
Yes.
I think I probably would have. I would be like I hope that Ari Aster winds up going back and making a horror movie like a folk horror film
Hmm.
that's not like, wow, this is terrifying because this is America today.
Yep.
Like even like Bo is Afraid was completely unhinged and giant penis monster. And I was down for that. Like
Hmm.
that's weird, crazy shit. And then Alex Garland, Ex Machina, Annihilation, two of my favorite films. Men, fucking weird. Still loved it though. But both of them are really getting into commentating on the world today
Hmm.
in a very overt way. Not like allegorical, but like bam, in your face. And then you have Robert Eggers, who's making a bloody, crazy, unhinged werewolf movie. And I'm like, I'm about that.
Then
So
you have
like,
Robert Eggers. You would have to fucking, even if you pointed a gun at his head and say this needs to take place in today's day and age, he would rather die. He would be like, you know what, squeeze the fucking trigger because I'm not making a modern
yeah,
movie. He said it someplace
yeah.
like. No.
Him and Jordan Peele, which
Yeah.
obviously Jordan Peele's all of his movies have a lot of commentary on them, but they're still like at their core horror movies.
Yeah.
Like some filmmakers like that's why I love Robert Eggers so much. He's committing to his bit, and it's not going to disappoint. And I appreciate filmmakers with some variety and range and stuff like that. Like sometimes it's one of the same reasons why it makes me sad when really talented filmmakers wind up doing a Marvel movie
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because like it's not going to be their movie. And I'd rather you like I want you to get your money, but I'd rather be watching films that you'd rather be making.
Uh,
And
mm-hmm.
it's not the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
there's a trend of like some filmmakers are like, well, we're just gonna get super political and stuff like this now. I'm like, I kind of miss some of the stuff that you were making before.
Yeah.
Not that this stuff isn't great though. It's just at least I have Robert Eggers there to
Mm-hmm.
keep feeding me unwild, unhinged folk horror movies and shit like that.
So many thoughts. So
Yeah,
I agree that, like, how they portray their movies, they are not really allegorical, they are more in your face. But I think we can have a much longer discussion about how this
yeah.
is a reflective of where we are now. Like,
Yep.
this is unfortunate. And I've had this discussion on a different podcast with different people who are arguing against me. And I'm like, do you not see, and Americans arguing against me, I'm like, do you not see what society do you live in right now? Like, we're like, don't look up. Unfortunately, is, aging better and better each passing second. And people were like, this is too much in your face, screaming at you. And then 5 years later,
There's the world around you.
yeah,
So
and again, look, is it maybe the most poignant and, like, like, as you say, is it very overt? Is it, shouting at you the message and what it wants, how it feels about things? 100%. Because everybody does this. Like, and I'm not trying to justify it. I'm saying art is always reflection of the
yeah.
period it's been made in. 2020s, we already are in. Like, we already are in this day and age where we are not fucking going back anytime soon to, hey, this can be allegorical because people will get it. There are more dumb people now than ever, it seems like. And it's fascinating and it's frightening because it's like, oh, Jesus Christ, really? Do you believe this? Unless
Fortunately,
these,
we live in a world where idiocracy is too allegorical for people.
like, it's too, see, like, think about it, right? Like, I still remember when season 4 of The Boys started, and some have awoken to the fact that it's like, wait, they've
Like,
gone so political the season 4. Why all of a sudden? And I'm like, The Boys has always been like that, except in the previous seasons it was more like, as you say, bit more nuanced. Like, it wasn't nuanced at all, but it was like more nuanced. Where season 4 and
yeah.
5 dropped, they were like, fuck the nuance, because those people are not getting this, is, they are not supposed to be rooting for this person, and what we're trying to say, so fuck the nuance. And some of the smart people have woken up like, oh, wait, is like the Euphoria meme. Wait, is this fucking play about us? Yes, it was about you the entire time, but you were not getting it, and
Well, and
you were
then the
making them.
fifth season
Yes.
was getting completely knocked off the rails because the world around us was getting crazier than the boys. And then it's just like,
And
well,
Kripke
shit, what are we supposed to do now?
And Eric Kripke is on a record saying, "Look, I was never gonna follow the comics to the T. I always wanted to make this about, like, political. Like, this is what I'm, like,
Yeah.
I understand, guys, what you wanted from me, but this is my show, what I wanted to say about this." So, like, he is totally behind the fifth season, fourth season. He stands behind it all because he's like, no, ever since the beginning, I wanted to say this. So I was like, okay, cool. But
And then when he tries to have an episode about Homelander being God, and then Donald Trump drops a meme of him being God 4 days
you mean
before the
Doctor?
episode release.
You mean he was Doctor Shane? He was curing the person.
Okay. Okay.
Have you seen, do you watch Jon Stewart?
Clips. I don't actually sit and watch the
Did
Daily
you
Show, but like
did you see, I know I only watched like the main bit. Did you see when that picture dropped and what he did with that?
no.
Because the man, like, I didn't realize it until he pointed out. So the man Trump is healing as a doctor, not Jesus, not God, doctor. He looks awful like Jon Stewart. Like if you look at the AI image, it actually looks like he's healing Jon Stewart. So like he's made a whole bit about it. This is fucking creepy. Why am I in that picture? I don't like it. So no, like yeah, it is like look, Ari Aster, go back to the Ari Aster of it all.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be. I think these movies. I really hope they will age poorly, in a way where in 20 years' time we hope to. I hope the entire world will be to some sort of normality, some sort of, hey, let's chill for a bit. And we will watch these movies, like Don't Look Up, like this, like Scapegoat, that's gonna be wild, like Eddington. And our kids will say, wait, 2020, like this is actually like real, like people actually did this. People actually fight over this. People were actually talking like to each other like this. Really? And I
They're gonna
really
think it's a
hope,
satire.
no, exact, well,
Yeah.
and
So
I really hope they will age poorly because we will not get used to this. I really hope we can uncouple ourselves from this mentality and from these kind of things and go back to kind of, hey, we don't understand each other, we don't agree with each other, but we can talk. We don't have to shout over each other. I'm not gonna try to bomb several countries at once. Like, like some sort of normalcy would be good.
So it's either going to be they're going to look back and be like, this is so ridiculous. This is so over the top. Life couldn't actually have been like this. Or they're going to look back and like, wow, this was so restrained and nuanced
Um,
because our reality has become so unhinged.
or
So,
yeah, or it's gonna be even worse. Or it's gonna be like, oh, remember 2020s when everything was still chill? Like imagine a
uh,
future, Shane, where we will look back at this age and this decade and be like, this kind of was chill still. The shit hasn't
I
hit the
don't want
fan
to,
fully.
nope. I don't want to imagine. Sorry, John Lennon.
Yep.
I don't want to imagine this world.
But yeah,
Oh,
do
man.
you have any more thoughts about this?
This is wild, and
Hmm.
Ari Aster is such an interesting filmmaker, and he's gonna have a blast making this movie, I am sure.
That was my
Um,
last thought about this. Have
yeah,
you do you li- did you listen to DGA podcast, Directors Guild of America?
I do not.
Oh, you don't? Okay. So you haven't heard Ari Aster talking about Ennington on it.
No.
So this was so funny. He was talking. I cannot remember who was the other guy because there's always like the director who made the movie talking to a director who made some other movie, but they talk
Yeah.
about it, right? Two directors, right? And the guy who was interviewing him, like a smart guy, a very good director, I can't remember the name. He was like, I really care how you don't sorry, I really like how you don't care about how people perceive you or your movies. And he was just like, I do care. And he was like so like he sounded so defeated. It's like, no, I do want to have a good time. I do care how my movies are perceived. Like, I didn't want to do this. So it's
Well,
almost like,
all I know is
hmm
that man had to be sitting off to the side while they were making Beau is Afraid, laughing his ass off for 3 hours
hmm
because I was one of the only people laughing watching Beau is Afraid, and I'm like,
that's the only Ari Aster movie I still haven't seen. That's the only one.
it is wild.
That's what I hear. I know it's wild, and I know some sort of penis monster because of you. Like I'm like,
Yep.
okay, that's all I
Penis
need to know.
monster. There you go. But yes,
But yeah. Okay.
those are my final thoughts.
All right. So shall we move to our big topic?
Yes. So the Western genre
Hmm.
is one that is pretty polarizing.
Yes.
I know particularly a decent amount of people who just hate Westerns
Yes.
and aren't about it. They're antiquated.
Hmm.
They're too obnoxiously American. They're too like uber masculine. I also know that my wife and I bonded over Westerns.
Hmm.
Jess also loves Westerns, so we appreciate those together. She is, and we'll discuss this, she's much more revisionist and spaghetti Western type of fan,
Hmm.
not a lot of like the traditional John Ford, John Wayne, Howard Hawks type westerns and stuff like that.
Yep.
But the western genre is one of the oldest in film.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dating all the way back to the Great Train Robbery, was one of the first big films from like 1901,
Mm-hmm.
which is absolutely wild. And just capturing this idea of the law versus lawlessness, or man versus the frontier, man versus nature. And a lot of it's for a long time were morality dramas. Like the idea of a steadfast person sticking by their moral guns while
Mm-hmm.
also using guns to fight the people who are not sticking to morality. And, I just find something so fascinating about that dynamic of, especially like the challenge of what's moral or not, what's the like lawlessness taking old. Because to be honest, this all came out of frontier life in the United States, in the Western United States, where the law was like miles and miles and miles away. And sometimes you had to figure out shit on your own,
Yep.
and you would have to deal with things that like you would have to find solutions. It's not like you just call 911 and have the police roll up. And it's such an interesting capturing of that type of life. And obviously Italian filmmakers latched onto that and leveraged similar type areas in Italy and Spain to reflect that. Those are obviously the spaghetti westerns, and there's meat pie westerns
Mm-hmm.
out of Australia, which also the outback is basically just the western frontier of the United States, so that makes a lot of sense. And there's layers to this because obviously there's traditional westerns that take place during that like Civil War through
Yep.
the later 1800s of the United States into the very beginning of the 1900s before industrialization and a lot of stuff like that. Then you have neo westerns, which take Western themes and put them in modern context. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of them take place in Texas and still in like the Western United States,
I wonder
like
why.
Arizona, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, those types of areas, Mexico. You have other like the revisionist Western, which kind of redid and refocused the themes and ideas of Westerns. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of that came up in the 60s and the 70s because that was the time where all of film was being undone in the United States and culture changes. There's weird Westerns that take Western setting motifs and stuff like that and put other genres in it, whether it's like sci-fi or horror and stuff like that. But there's a lot of interesting things that you can do with a Western.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess, Luke, what are your general feelings towards Western as a genre?
So Western is a genre I remember it took me a while to kind of get into. Because yeah, I was one of those like, Western, not really. Like ever since I was a kid. So you know how there's the Cowboys and Indians, like like
Yes.
every boy used to play Cowboys and I was never that boy. So I couldn't even when I was little. I was like, I loved guns. I still do, even though I support gun control. I was never the one who's like because my heroes were Arnold, Schwarzenegger. My
Yeah.
heroes were Sylvester Stallone and in First Blood, Rambo. Like, so like I was not into westerns, even though you can kind of argue First Blood is kind of a western. See,
It definitely has a lot of motifs about it,
yes.
for sure.
So see
Um,
now, like if you think about it, that probably would be like my top five. But hey, no. But like I said this to you off the camera. I try to watch more westerns, like American
yep,
westerns. I often struggle with them. Like because it's like it's and you know me, Shane. Like I am
yep,
like look. I try to judge every movie based on its own merits, not, oh yeah, they like to hit women and they like to dunk on Mexicans or Native Americans or, yes, this was the era and
yep.
and not like in the Old West. Those people would not have those, you know, things. Basically, like, I don't think women
There
were
obvious
like,
there was
necessarily like worshipped.
obviously
in the Old
Well,
West.
there was a lot of bigotry and
Yes.
sexism in that time to begin with.
Hmm.
But also in real life, things were a lot more diverse and complicated out in the
Hmm.
West. Um, my wife is super into that type of stuff and looking at history, and like apparently like one out of every three cowboy was a black man.
That's what I was gonna bring up. Yes,
And
that is
early Hollywood just like not a black person in sight.
that's one of the things I wanted to actually mention. So, and another thing is exactly that because of Hollywood and how our perception. Because like the first, like you can argue until 70s. Western is very a white man's game, and therefore
Yeah.
kind of sanitized. Even though we see again, like I've just watched the Western to prepare for this, and it's
Mm.
like yeah, oh yeah, he just casually like bitch slaps a woman twice because like he can, and she needs to fall in line, or like young Charles Bronson who wasn't named as Charles Bronson without like a mustache or anything was like was trying to rape this Mexican girl. Like, oh, you don't scream? I like it when they scream. And I'm like, oh yeah, boy, boy, boy. But again, like those definitely existed. So like, it makes sense within the movie. I don't think movie is necessarily condoning those characters. It's more
Yeah.
like, hey, there used to be very awful people living like this, and within the context of the movie, it makes sense, even though we don't condone it, right? And yeah, because they were made by white people, white men mainly, like and people are then surprised. Oh, one every three cowboys were black. Really? Where is the fucking black people cowboy movies and where is the black
In
people
my
western?
Hollywood,
Exactly, yeah, because until very recently, like that
like
wouldn't be unheard
Tarantino.
of. Yeah,
Like
I was gonna mention the
honestly,
harder they fall. Like that's
well,
a
that was the thing.
great one.
Even Tarantino before that opened the door to
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
Django
Jingo.
is is a Western.
It is, yeah.
And then The Hateful Eight, which originally was going to be Django,
Yes.
was going to be in it, and then realized he didn't really work
Mm-hmm.
in what Tarantino was trying to do with that. Like Tarantino was one of the first people to put a spotlight in modern context of like, yeah, they were black people all
Mm-hmm.
over the West. And yeah, The Harder They Fall is one of those like outlaw uh like Bass Reeves was like he was a really person
Mm-hmm.
in the Old West, and like Taylor Sheridan made a show about him, which was great, and actually put a spotlight on this black man who made a big impact in the West. And this is my perspective because I love westerns,
Yeah.
and I put them in the same category as horror movies, where there's the potential
Mm-hmm.
for these to be really, really, really bad,
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
and to be like obscenely bad. Where it's just like, my God, like, but if you do them right,
Mm-hmm.
they have such amazing upside. Because yes, if you do lean into all those horrible tropes, it's gonna come off being antiquated, offensive, and such. But if you leverage that
Mm-hmm.
and commentate on it, there's something very powerful you can explore. And I feel like there's a lot of things that you can explore in a Western in a very impactful way.
Mm-hmm.
And there are Westerns that you can tell the ones that are elevated, and even some of the greats from back then do still have moments where you're like, "Mm." But the thing is also understanding that, especially once you get into revisionist Westerns, spaghetti Westerns, these are not protagonists that are good people.
Yes. Yes.
And you're not supposed to
Root for them.
like everything that they do
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or necessarily root for them,
Mm-hmm.
but understand people are complicated.
Yep.
And the old Westerns, like old Western serials, were like White Knight Sheriff and evil, uh, like cowboy and wrangler and stuff like that, bushwhacker, all of those like evil guys. And those aren't necessarily the ones that I particularly like because they're
Mm-hmm.
too simple, they're too cheesy,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not really like hitting on something. I feel like really it was John Ford who started adding layers to
Mm-hmm.
westerns because like I it frustrates me too because some people just hate westerns so much that they write off even the good ones.
Yeah.
Like a film like Stagecoach
Hmm.
paints a portrait of a lot of different interesting characters. And sure, the indigenous people in that film still aren't given a whole lot of dimensions and stuff like that.
Hmm.
A film like The Searchers, that has some ruthless indigenous people in it, but it also shows there's multiple different tribes who all have different approaches to life and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And also, to be frank, some of the white people in that movie are downright evil, including the main character,
Hmm.
Ethan Edwards, who you're not supposed to be rooting for. And it is, I do understand why maybe more people lean towards once revisionist westerns came in and added a more complex and interesting layer. And you could make jokes about Dances with Wolves and stuff like that, like white man savior complex, but like at
Hmm.
least that film showed so much of indigenous culture and actually showed layered characters and stuff like that. Movie's still too long. Like it has that kind of approach to it, but there's a lot of interesting things you can do that with it too, and you can inject these ideas and themes into so many different places because guess what, Mad Max,
Hmm.
they're westerns,
Hmm.
they are weird westerns. Like Mad Max is like the prototypical like anti-hero western type of grifter
Hmm.
character.
Yeah.
um you have Tremors, which I absolutely love Tremors. And that's a Western with giant, cryptid sand snakes based off of Mongolian desert worms,
Hmm.
which are an actual cryptid, which that terrifies me if those are actually real. So, and like those types of things. And Logan, which, Wolverine it's so funny because they made Wolverine put Wolverine into a samurai movie in The Wolverine and then
Yep.
put him in a Western Logan because he fits into that mold so perfectly. And also, Westerns and samurai films are cousins, and I love both of them. That could
Hmm.
be a whole other thing, but
Yeah. I no,
obviously
I
just
definitely prefer like samurai movies to be perfectly honest.
hmm,
However, I really appreciate because I liked what you said. When they are done right, like they are one of the best movies you will ever see. Like, I'm sure like our top five will be fairly similar, maybe besides few movies, like or like maybe it's like one or two. But it's a fascinating genre to me because like I actually like when you said like oh as the weird westerns when it's like it's a horror movie with western setting. I would love to see more of those or like what
yes,
the or like weird pool or not weird, we were talking about this, Cowboys and Aliens. The
yeah,
movie is fine. Some people hate it, some people kind of like it. I'm saying this is the most, like, to me, Cowboys and Aliens was one of the most middle of the road movies you will ever see. To me, this is perfectly fine movie. It's not great, it's not terrible,
yeah,
but I do appreciate that Jon Favreau, right after Iron Man and Iron Man 2, kickstarting this thing called
yeah.
MCU, was like, hey, I really want to do a cowboy movie, but what if aliens? And I like the fact, like, how some people are like, hey, take westerns and put this spin on it because that's the
Yeah.
originality I think we can get nowadays because everything you've ever thought of, all the stories have already been thought of. It's all now what we are dealing with is variations of, hey, what if this but with this twist, what if this but with this twist. And I would love to see more like, hey, drama but make it well, most westerns are kind of drama as well, that's a bad
Well,
example.
in
Musical,
fact,
make it Western.
all films have drama in it
Hmm.
because that's the whole entire framework of how
Yes.
storytelling works. But
Yes.
I get your point. And like Star Wars
Hmm.
is based off of one samurai films because the first Star Wars movies, Hidden Fortress,
Yes.
um, revamped into space. But like the Mandalorian
Hmm.
is a Western,
Yes.
like through
100%.
and through. He is like the prototypical anti-hero Western drifter character.
Yep.
And, you know, you have stuff like that is so ingrained into pop culture where it's just like a lot of people don't even realize like, yeah, you're enjoying some Western stuff.
hmm Because they
You
are
just kind of just don't
repackaged.
know it.
Because they are
Yeah.
repackaged well enough, where it's like, oh yeah, I don't really mind because like, this story structure, it's your stereotypical Western, but I don't really mind because it's actually this action movie or thriller movie.
Well,
Look,
Prey,
yeah, oh, yeah,
the is a Western, and I would love to see like because Predator Killer of Killers just opened the door to like all possibilities. Like
yeah.
we got the samurai and ninja one. Like I want to see a Western where
That
you have a
would be
gunslinger
cool. That would
having to
be
go up against a predator.
that like like if Predator lands someplace in like Texas or New Mexico like 1890
Yeah.
and goes stop against like some cowboy,
And I
that
want
would be.
Timothy Oliphant to
Oh, of course. Who?
cowboy.
I mean, who else, right? If you're thinking cowboy in modern day Hollywood, there's nobody.
Yeah, because he literally even voiced basically Clint Eastwood in Rango.
Mhm.
Rango is
Yeah,
an amazing Western.
that's a great animated movie, and it's a
Yeah.
great Western. Yes, it's.
And that's just amalgamation of
hmm
so many Western motifs and Chinatown
Yeah,
all rolled into a kids movie, which is completely unhinged.
it
I
is.
love
No.
Gore Verbinski because that man gives no shits about what he makes, and we're lucky for it.
hmm
And that's the fascinating thing. Well, let's dive into our top five, and then I'm sure we have honorable mentions. But what's your
Yes.
number five?
Okay, so my number one, sorry, number five. This is the only quote unquote traditional American one on my list. There is another American, well, there's two more American movies, but one is Neo, and one is like, I want to see your reaction.
Hmm.
Not to spoil anything. So my number five is Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Because, like,
Yep.
look,
This
I
is yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I have seen, you know, Magnificent Seven. I liked it very much. I need to rewatch it. I have seen all the great ones, and they are all most of them are like 4.5 or 4 stars for me. Great
Hmm.
movies, but there's always something that didn't click. But Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, it's like this like camaraderie on a screen between Robert Redford and and
All
Paul
Newman.
Newman. Paul
Yep.
Newman. Like, first of all, two hunks. I'm like,
Yep.
this like is the hunkiest movie that ever hunked. Like, Jesus fuck, those men were wow. I wish I would look like that. But like that camera and like you have the raindrops keep falling on my head. That's like that non-traditional approach to like, hey, this is a Western, but we have this like nice, lovely, very
Yeah.
pure like sequence. Just him
Very
riding a bike.
60s
Yeah,
pop song,
yeah.
like just strolling into this movie.
It's like, this is like vibe, yeah. And then the ending, like,
Yep.
like I've read someplace like, you could make like nowadays many filmmakers would like compete who could make a bloodier ending, who could make it more like sacrificial, like mean something, but like just the freeze frame of it all, and you just hear the audio, and I just love the ending. That's one I need to rewatch because I only watched it once, but it made such an impact. I think this is one of those that convinced me, hey, westerns can be great because
Yeah.
like if you cast people like that and make them well.
Well, and this is like the prototype for revisionist
Mm-hmm.
westerns
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because this is the 60s
Yes.
and there was a culture shift in America at the time and this really reflected that
Mm-hmm.
because neither of them were good people.
No.
And it takes like those motifs of like BJ Thomas's Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head and stuff like that, and giving it this different kind of slant to it. And that is a very provocative and powerful ending that even in like his contemporaries, if Sam Peckinpah
Mm-hmm.
made this movie like Wild Bunch style, they
It,
would have been riddled. Like this would have looked like Bonnie and Clyde at the end, just riddled with dozens and dozens of bullets. So I give them a lot of credit for like sticking with that freeze frame ending because it's so iconic at this
100%.
point for sure. Um, it's a great film, absolutely great film. My number five is The Searchers,
Nice. I haven't
and this
seen
is
this one. I haven't seen
yep,
this one.
this is one of Martin Scorsese's top five favorite films.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I think, the the Western of John Ford's career. So like
Mm.
obviously he made so many great Westerns, but this film, it has a it absolutely is gorgeous. The
Hmm.
Technicolor, Monument Valley, all of it. Um Top of the frame, bottom of the frame, horizons, just
Yeah, yeah,
all
yeah.
all that John Fordness. I think this is the greatest performance John Wayne ever gave.
Okay.
And he's a bastard.
Hmm.
And like, there's a moment where he shows some raw emotion. I'm like, shit, I didn't think John Wayne was capable of that, to be perfectly honest. And Ethan Edwards is a rabble rouser. He is a Confederate soldier who never gave up. He never surrendered.
Hmm.
So like, and he's been an outlaw for years and comes back, and his family is killed by a Comanche tribe,
Mm.
and his two nieces are kidnapped, and he has to go on a journey of him and his like adopted nephew who's a quarter indigenous, which Ethan Edwards hates because he's an extreme bigot. And they go on this 7-year journey of trying to find these girls, and there's some really challenging things that they have to confront along the way. The cast is great. Jeffrey Hunter, future Pike from the original Star Trek,
Hmm.
pops up there. Vera Miles, who plays his love interest, that's fun and charming. You got some classic John Ford character actors like Ward Bond, love
Hmm.
that guy. And the action is thrilling. It's a complex story, and it has one of the greatest endings of all time. That frame of the blacked out frame of the house, and Ethan Edwards can't go inside, and he just kind of holding his elbow and then walks out into the desert as the door closes behind him. It's just a powerful image. And this is certainly top tier traditional Western.
Mm.
Like, if I'm gonna show anybody a traditional Western of like, yeah, this is what a great Western could look like, it's this one.
So I was checking whether because I was like, did I buy it? Did I buy it on like a 4K or Blu-ray? Because I had a feel like I know I've bought some westerns, traditional westerns I haven't seen yet.
Mhm.
This is not that. I think I mistook it with Rio Bravo. I did buy that one on 4K.
I have this old classic Warner Brothers
Very
DVD of
nice.
The Searchers, which I would love to upgrade this.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
haven't really looked into that yet, though.
Yeah. But no, that's definitely on that's one of those movies I've heard so much about, The Searchers, where I would actually blind buy like the 4K if it was a decent enough price. Because I know I know the history. I know like how
Mhm.
significant it should be. And yeah, like so I cannot really comment on anything else because I haven't seen it. But I know like I've heard a lot about it, and it's definitely like top of my list. But I need to. I don't think it's streaming here anywhere. So that's the other thing. Like many of these westerns are
Yeah.
not really streaming anywhere. But I'm sure there's a 4K of it. This one.
I know HBO Max here has a decent amount of westerns on
Yeah.
there, which is cool. And honestly, Amazon is such a shit streaming service from like a functional standpoint, but there are so many movies on Prime that
Yep.
you'll never know.
Yep.
Like half the movies I find out that are on Prime are because they're the watch this next.
Yes.
After you watch a movie, I'm like, this stuff's on Prime Video.
Same.
Amazon, it's so I gotta, you know what? Next episode, I'm gonna use that as my rant because I have a lot of feelings about that as a streaming service. So I'm gonna remember for next
Okay.
time. But what's your number four?
I will just quickly say that's how I watch
No, yeah.
my stuff on Amazon Prime too. I have obviously my list, like my to watch list, right? But also I'm scrolling like you might like this because I watch so many, especially older movies. I
Yes.
watched on there when it's like, oh, you might like this, and there's like, oh, there's this comedy with Peter Sellers from like 60 something I've heard of. Let's watch this. Or there's this
Yeah.
like West like to prepare for this show, I watched the Veracruz Western. I heard like something's about, and apparently it's supposed to be the inspiration for Sergio Leone to start spaghetti Western,
Mm,
which feels very much spaghetti Western. Burt Lancaster and Cary Grant.
yep.
It was very good. It was. I liked it. I liked
There
it.
you go.
So my next one is the only neo Western, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken, which is Hell or High Water.
This
That
is like my 6 or 7
yeah, 6
on
okay.
my
We're keeping that meme alive.
yeah. But no, go ahead.
No, it's such a. So I remember I was one of the. I think I don't know if I watched it in the cinema, but I remember seeing that poster. I was like, oh, that looks interesting. Okay, and then I watched it. I was like, holy shit! I didn't realize it's gonna be such an amazing movie.
Yep.
And when because this got like an April or May release, and then when it got
Actually, well, in the United States, it came out in August,
oh,
which is like
mhm,
who think and it's by like awards season, nobody thinks about shit that
exactly,
comes out in August.
yep.
And that's a shame, but it still got attention.
But it still got attention, and I was like, damn, I was so happy for a movie because yeah, it's see, I gravitate towards like there is a subreddit called the guys being dudes, where it's just all about like guys being like just silly little goofballs or like the
Yeah.
camaraderie, the friendship, and this is the other ultimate like these are actual brothers, right? They're
Yes.
trying to do something bad that is kind of justified to
Yes.
make something good, right? And the way they go about what what the movie is actually about, it's fucking smart as fuck. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
where's this go? Oh, this is what we're doing. I love this, and it just in the final shootout, and then we watch, the unlikely pairing of Jeff,
Jeff
what,
Bridges.
Jeff
Yeah.
Bridges. Why am I forgetting names today? And the guy I cannot remember his name. I'm sorry, but
Gail
like
Birmingham plays his partner.
partner.
Yep.
And that camaraderie, like when they like when he's teasing for being like a half Indian or something, and like he's teasing him
Yeah, because
back.
he's half Mexican
Oh
and
yes.
half
Oh yeah,
in
pick your struggle,
yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
yeah. I think he said yeah, that's what he says. Like
Yeah.
pick your fucking struggle. And but like despite that, right? You can tell these are very good friends. And
Yep.
when one of them dies, it breaks your heart
It
in
was
half.
shocking
Yes.
and gutted me in the theater.
And how that movie ends, where you know the sheriff knows what happened, he just cannot prove it, and that final almost like a standoff, but it's not a standoff,
Oh
but
my
it kind of
god, it's
feels like a
so
standoff.
damn good.
I know, right? And it's that, and I think that goes to your previous point. When
Yeah.
somebody takes Western elements and puts it into this like family drama slash like action movie and does it
Yeah.
well, you get movie like Hell or High Water, which is excellent, excellent, excellent movie. And one of the best of like last decade. Like genuinely, like this is such an
Yeah.
awesome movie.
I was pushing for that so hard to win
Yeah.
Best Picture in
Oh,
2016.
that'd be so
And
good.
obviously it came down to La La Land and Moonlight. I'm like, this doesn't have a chance,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it deserves it. And you have Taylor Sheridan wrote this.
Mm-hmm.
So he did Sicario. He wrote this. And then he wound up writing and directing Wind River, which is also
Mm-hmm.
high on my list because I absolutely love that movie too. And obviously he shifted into television and hasn't done a whole lot of movies since. But and then David Mackenzie directs the hell out of this movie. And shout out to Giles Nutgens,
Mm-hmm.
wild name. He's the cinematographer that does all of David Mackenzie's movies.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is shot so freaking well.
Yep.
And it's the camera pans at the beginning of the movie that like pans into the bank while the bank robbery's going on, and then the end just panning away from that really tense discussion
Mm-hmm.
that's definitely going to be more later is so incredible. And this is the movie that made me love Chris Pine.
Yes.
It was like one of his most interesting performances up to this without him just being a movie star type performance.
I forgot to mention that. Like before
Yeah.
that, I was like, Chris Pine is this hunk. He's kind of good in Star Trek. I kind of like him. It's fine.
Yeah,
And then
he's
I
the
watched
least he was the
this.
least interesting Chris at that point.
Yes.
And
After
then
this
Chris Pratt
movie,
like
I'm like, and after this movie, I'm like, damn, this Chris Pine can fucking act. Like, where
yeah,
was this? Where was this the entire time?
if you're making a western from 2000 up until now, you need a little Ben Foster in it.
Oh,
And
100%.
my God, he is unhinged in this. And the way that he's just like slumping down that highway with that
Mm-hmm.
machine gun, just shooting at the police, and just like, oh, shit.
Or
And
having
then
sex with, with his brother in a room. Like, I'm talking about unhinged. Yeah.
wild. And then yes, the Jeff Bridges Go Birmingham dynamic in this is one of my
Peak.
favorite duo
Yes.
dynamics in movies. And that scene with that woman at that restaurant
What don't
is
you
just
want?
like it's amazing.
Yes.
And both of them put in their place.
Yeah.
Like, this woman is just like that, and that's like Coen Brothers level
Yeah.
minor because she's in No Country for Old Men too.
Ah.
She's the one who runs the motel that he
Mm-hmm.
rents multiple rooms from. So like she's just one of those brilliant character actors. But no, I love Hell or High Water so much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My next, and this is the most, I guess, outside of the box Western that a lot of people, I've had people argue with me that it's not, but it is There Will Be Blood.
Oh, nice.
Because
Okay.
it's the setting, it's the motif, and all of that kind of stuff. It's just about an oil tycoon.
Mm-hmm.
And like, this really captures that like California desert kind of setting.
Mm-hmm.
It has that he's he's an outlaw.
Mm-hmm.
He's a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, in the most classic American kind of way, they're the richest of people that could just get away with whatever the hell they want. And the way that this is shot, I was so mad that Roger Deakins didn't win Best Cinematography for No Country for Old Men that year. But to be frank, um Ellsworth, who shot this movie is strikingly gorgeous.
Yep.
And that Johnny Greenwood score is so ethereal and unnerving.
Mm-hmm.
And like that moment with they have the explosion with the oil and everything, and that like tribal kind of music, the drums and everything. And obviously Daniel Day-Lewis as Daniel Plainview is, and I will argue, is the greatest performance ever put on film.
I mean, that's a
And
solid
like,
argument. Yes.
yeah, it's one of those ones where it's just like you can't argue against it, but like saying something like that is like kind of ridiculous to make that type of claim.
It's like
But
very
like
absolute claim, but it's like
yeah,
hard to push back. Yeah.
it's certainly one of the great
Mm-hmm.
performances on film, and
Mm-hmm.
it's towering. It is powerful, and it was completely unhinged in the end. I love this struggle between that capitalistic greed and the corruption of religion,
Mm-hmm.
and how they both do the same goddamn thing
Mm-hmm.
to people and take advantage of people, and both of them are grifters. And that dynamic between him and Paul Dano holds his own against Daniel Day-Lewis in this movie.
I was
This
gonna make a
is
joke. It's a shame Paul Dano is in the movie, as our friend of the show, Quentin Tarantino, would say. It is a shame. Otherwise, this movie would have been great, right?
Quentin Tarantino and his shit takes. I want that man to just shut the hell up.
Yep.
Make your 10th movie and go off into the sunset.
Yep.
So, if you're gonna keep acting like this, you're drunk. Go home. No, just this movie is an absolute incredible feat, and I've seen this movie like six or I'm not gonna say it again. I'm not gonna do it. I've seen this 6+ times.
Okay.
At this point, and this is it's a feat. Paul Thomas Anderson. This is by far my favorite PTA film,
Mm-hmm.
and it's also like his most unique
Mm-hmm.
and different
Mm-hmm.
because like who would have thought the guy that did Boogie Nights and like
Magnolia.
Magnolia, which are so very urban,
Yep.
like LA type films, to just go out to the desert, like hundreds of like dozens of hundreds of miles. I don't know how far off
Mm-hmm.
Eastern California deserts are and stuff like that. Not good with that. But go out there and make a period piece like this is pretty impressive.
I talk about a movie I really need to rewatch because I remember watching. I only watched it once. Not to sound like a broken record, I've only watched it once.
Yep.
But I remember even then I loved it. I was like, damn, this is a long movie, but it doesn't feel like a long movie. It was captivating to your point about Daniel Day-Lewis. It's a hard argument to be like, oh yeah, this is not the greatest performance of all time. Like, and I don't like to talk absolutes, But it's hard to argue against this performance. If we genuinely ever wanted to do a show where it's like, hey, top performances of all time, he would have to be in that discussion because that
Mhm.
performance is just such a like. If I'm not mistaken, that year at the Oscars, there was no way anybody else was winning. There was nobody was.
There's no competition. And I would have loved for Tommy Lee Jones to have
Mhm,
gotten nominated for No Country. He
mhm.
actually got nominated that year for In the Valley of Elah,
Oh yeah.
which I've watched that once and I haven't watched that in years.
Mhm.
But there, there was no other option that year. Daniel Day-Lewis was
Yeah.
winning his second Oscar. Like it was a done deal. So
100%. 100%. No, but it's a great movie. I see, I didn't even consider this as a Western. But I kind of like your argument. I like it.
well,
Huh.
and it's one of those things where it's like it plays in that sandbox, but it's
Yes.
not like a fully like if I was going to make a top five list of like what I feel like are the best representations of the Western genre, I probably wouldn't put this on here,
Hmm.
but it still is that. It's
Yeah.
just it's a lot of other things along with
100%.
that too.
So my next pick, my third pick, is also number three in this trilogy. And it's the funniest. It's Back to the Future Part 3.
Yeah, it's a
And
fun Western.
so first of all, it's a fun Western. And this is like I'm not trying to make any hot takes here, but like ever since I saw this movie, and I know I'm on an island, this is my favorite Back to the Future movie. I know this is a wild take, but like I
Mhm.
just and this is the thing, right? This is when I kind of realized westerns can be good, and then I watched this movie, and now I've rewatched, rewatching this trilogy like a few more times now. I grown to actually appreciate both first and second because I remember seeing it for the first time, like, this is it, really? Like when I was young, I was like, this like cult classic, really? Okay. But now I like no, they are great movies, all three of them.
Yeah.
But for some reason, the third one is very close to my heart. Just I feel like the Western setting for this last adventure fits so well. The jokes about Clint Eastwood, like he just says it as it
Mr.
means something.
Eastwood.
Yeah, and then they're like, "That's a weird name." Okay, and he's like, "Oh yeah, because he didn't exist. Like obviously it means nothing." Calvin Klein, and like you have these
Yeah.
like, and like the way Robert Zemeckis shoots it. Like he pays homages to a classics like Once Upon a Time in the West. There's a shot where like a train comes. It's the same exact tracking shot as Once Upon a Time in the
Yeah.
West. Like once you actually see a bunch of westerns and watch this movie, I genuinely think many people like write it off that this is the weakest of Back to the Future. Oh, it's fine. I genuinely think if like I think that goes to your point. Many people don't like westerns, so they don't see the what actually went into this and how it's not like, hey, he said Clint Eastwood, that makes it funny. It pays homages into like a really subtle ways,
Yeah.
and it's just I to me this is a great movie and it's a great closing of that trilogy. Like it talk about like Marty actually finally learning his lesson at the end when he actually comes back to the present
Yep.
and learning that like hey sometimes it's just being called chicken shouldn't trigger me anymore and I need to grow out of that. I feel like it's such a great again it's such a great movie.
I I love like this
Hmm.
as this outlaw with his gang and
Yes.
everything. Like that just fits so perfectly.
Yeah.
And Doc Brown fitting so perfectly in this steampunky kind of like Western inventor, which is really cool. And my God, their time traveling train locomotive at the
Yes.
end is so cool. They should have made some kind of spinoff of like Doc's family going on adventures in their time traveling locomotive. That would have been so cool.
I'm sure some
Uh,
executive in Hollywood was trying to make that happen after. Because like that's what I was gonna say. That like that ending is also so bittersweet because you want them to stay together, Doc and Marty, right? But
mhm.
it kind of makes sense that Doc just wants to step back, with is it Mary Masterson?
Stein was like Steinbaum or
No,
because
Steinberg.
she's married.
Yes. No,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's married to Ted
Then Dance.
Danson.
Yes, Mary
Yeah,
Steinberg. Yes, Mary Steinberg.
yep.
I always get them confused. Like it makes sense. So that ending, like when they say goodbye, it's like a nice and bittersweet, and I didn't expect that. So I was like, oh, that's nice and makes sense. Yeah.
That whole train sequence at the
Yep.
end is
Yep.
so good,
Mm-hmm.
so much tension, so
Yep.
exciting. And yeah, the whole entire like lead up to the shootout
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that is a bunch of fun. It's just like he's just been looking at that drink all the
And the fact
Just
that it's set up in a second, like he watches it for a few dollars more, and that's how he survives in a third, is a nice touch.
yeah.
That's like he uses the same exact thing what he sees in that movie from the previous. No, like
Yeah,
I
because like the chest plate
yes,
thing
the chest
from
plate. Is it
Fistful of
fistful of
Dollars.
doll?
That
Is it
was
fistful? Oh,
yeah.
okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, because that's the big climax of that movie where he strolls back into town
Yeah,
and seems invincible, and then just like
yeah.
just wastes everybody. My that's such a fun movie. My
Hmm.
number three is Unforgiven,
Of course.
and this is like the revisionist Western.
Hmm.
Like this completely deconstructs the mythos of the American West,
Hmm.
and that is such a deeply ingrained part of the film that it's so fascinating. Because the character of English Bob being like this triumphant gunslinger that this guy's writing a biography about just for Gene Hackman's character to tear that all down the duck of death,
Hmm.
where it's just like he didn't have actually two guns. One was his gun and his dick was so big everybody called it his other gun. And like all these like little things that people just build into myth, and like Bob would have died if he was his opponent wasn't so drunk,
Hmm.
and the breaking down of all that myth. Except sometimes the myth is not as terrifying as the truth is, which that's the case for William Money.
Hmm. Hmm.
Which Clint Eastwood, this and I think this and Million Dollar Baby are his two best performances as an actor. And one, Clint Eastwood directs the hell out of this movie.
Hmm.
This has so much texture, and like that final sequence is just so intense. And Clint Eastwood's amazing in this. Morgan Freeman's amazing in this. Gene Hackman is amazing in this. Richard Harris. There's just so many great performances, and there's some of the hardest lines in movies that I have ever heard in this movie. Like it's it's a what a feeling it is to kill a man and take everything that he has and everything he's ever gonna have. And you're just like, shit, that's true, isn't it? When you kill somebody, you take away all the potential of all that life in front of them and anything they are ever going to have. And I just love that moment at the very end when little Bill Daggett is like Harry, like Gene Hackman's like, I was building a house. I don't deserve this. And Clint Eastwood's just like, deserves got ain't got nothing to do with it. I'm like, shit. And William Money is a force of nature. One of my favorite scenes in film is the ending of this movie where they trigger him and he reverts back to this monster. He's like, I've killed men, women, children, everything that crawls on God's earth. And like, this man is a bastard.
Hmm.
And they woke him up. And he is terrifying. And they tear down the myth of like fanning your weapons because that would never work. It would like jam your weapon and mess it up. And the fact that people who like do quick draw doesn't make any sense because the guns were so shit back then that you would have absolutely no aim, which
Hmm.
is why he's so cool, cold, calm, and collected, just taking out everybody in that climax. This is, and the music is hauntingly beautiful. This is just a total package. And this movie killed the Western genre. Like, this was the movie that put that nail in. Like, this was no longer going to be one of the big genres in film.
Hmm.
And now it's like we occasionally get Westerns. But like this kind of closed the book on the Western genre as one of like the premier pieces of American cinema. And boy, was it incredible popper to that. And this being a best picture winner and everything really was like a closing of an era because the 90s were not a time where like westerns
Nope.
were going to be, and like this being at the beginning of the 90s and kind of closing the book on that just has that like meta contextual like
Hmm.
this is the end of the West, and this is the end of the Western genre as we know it. But damn, is it a great movie.
See, not to sound like a broken record, but I've only seen this movie once, a long time ago. Really liked it, really liked it, really enjoyed it. I need to desperately rewatch this one. I really need to rewatch this one.
I
But to
think this
you,
is one of those movies that resonates deeper as you get older
yeah,
and you're able to like process what this, because this isn't like a flashy movie.
no. And
It's
I've
very
watched,
contemplative.
and I would have watched this, Shane, when I was maybe 15, 14. So, like, trust me,
Probably not the best.
I don't think I've
Like,
processed many things like that
yep.
era. But I will say, to your point, like the killed westerns, I think it also kind of revived what we were talking about before. Like, hey, let's take western elements because, like, how many just in '90s movies, Stallone made many movies about being one man army and kind of like almost like a lone sheriff, right? Or like
Well,
even,
and
or like even Bruce Willis, like Hudson Hawk is kind of a western, even though it's
well,
quirky as
and
fuck.
even like Die Hard, where he's like,
Hmm. Yeah,
it's like,
yippee
yeah, well, that's the thing because so many like one man, like John Wick
yeah.
is that's any like one man army type stuff. What genre did that kind of stuff start in?
Hmm. Hmm.
Westerns. And like there's a thread that like all of those Stallone and Arnold like action movies where they are that one man army type of thing all have their roots in this.
Yes.
And that's the thing. Arnold Schwarzenegger loves America,
Oh yeah.
loves American cinema, classic American cinema. Sylvester Stallone loves Western. Like he's finally actually got to make a neo Western with Taylor Sheridan with Tulsa King.
Hmm.
And Upland, which takes place in like New Jersey and New York, is a neo Western in that kind of sense, where he's playing a small town lawman
Yep.
and battling corruption and stuff like that. Stallone. But
But
yeah.
no, like Unforgiven, it's on my to rewatch list.
Mhm.
Maybe for one of your podcasts. Like I'm gonna suggest that.
Well, I'll always be down if you wind up picking westerns for us to talk about on
Sure.
retrospective.
So my top two
Number
picks
two.
are so
Yep.
obvious. So let me just say, Shane, you see, in this world, there's two kinds of people, my friend. Those with loaded guns and those who dig. You dig. Or when you have to shoot,
Monty,
yeah,
you
when you
son
have
of
to
a.
shoot, shoot, don't talk. It is the good, the bad, and the ugly. Like
This is my number two, also.
oh no,
So this works out perfectly.
because this is such a great. It is a long movie, but it's such a great movie. I would not remove a single frame. I still remember, even when I watched it very young, that just impressed the fuck out of me. I think this is the movie. I think this is the ones I've seen first, and this made me Sergio Leone fan because like that guy just was on another level. Obviously, we need to mention Ennio Morricone because that music, that just where like it fits every single scene, and the way he revolutionized like soundtrack and score for movies. Like what he's done, it's insane. Obviously, Clint Eastwood, talk about hunkiest of dudes. Like he's just there, like he is Blondie, he is just he's got this charisma where like man with no name, right? He doesn't
Yeah.
talk much. He doesn't, but this movie
Mm.
also is quite funny.
Yeah.
It's has such a fun, so many funny moments. And then of course we need to mention the end, the standoff, one of the best shot and edited and scored sequences in a movie history. And this is, I'll be talking absolutes. This would probably must, if I actually put together like top five scenes in the movies, this would be like top three, like in the top
This is my
three.
number one,
Yeah,
actually. Like
yeah.
I've done that,
I
and
remember
this is yeah.
you said it to me once. I remember that. No, it's such a it's a masterclass. If you just watch that, it's a masterclass on how to stage a scene, how to cut, how to score, how just the expression, like you just see the eyes that became so iconic, and just
And
that movie.
parodied to hell.
Yes,
This.
honestly, that movie is a masterpiece. It's a simple enough masterpiece where there's only one. that can kind of overcome it. But honestly, in my eyes, it's a 1A, 1B kind of situation on any
Are
given
we
day.
talking about another Leone
You
epic
know it.
western that we might be
You
talking
know
about
it.
in just a second?
You know it.
Uh, this I literally just rewatched this last weekend for
Mm.
our classic movie marathon. And God, I like honed in
Yep.
when the second that Kuko gets blasted by the cannon and like rolls into the cemetery, and then Ecstasy of Gold starts playing, which one of the greatest pieces of film composition in the history of film is Ecstasy
Yes.
of Gold.
Yes.
And he's just like running like this with his hands out in like such a very specific way. And so the theme, the good, the
Mm-hmm.
bad, and the ugly,
Mm-hmm.
perfect theme song for a movie.
Yes.
Each of them having their own motif of music,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's the guitar riff, the flute, or
Yep.
the like screaming and stuff like that. Which the fact that that's Tuco's is hilarious. It's
Yeah.
absolutely hilarious. And then Il Triello, the trio, that piece of music with that the horns swelling at that moment, and then the and as the scene goes on, the edits get quicker, the music keeps swelling and just cutting between their hands, their eyes, them staring, and God, that shot, just the camera just under one of their hands, looking all the way across the way at it might have been, I think it's Blondie's hand and Coupeau in the background. It's just
Mm-hmm.
one of the most like incredible shots. And this 3 hour film deals with the weight of the Civil War
Mm-hmm.
in ways that's very interesting, like that whole bridge thing. The brother sequence with Tuco and his brother, that's so powerful. Eli Wallach is the true MVP of this movie
Yes.
because this charismatic performance carries this movie on his back. Because that's the thing. Clint Eastwood is steely, intense, and freaking cool.
Mm-hmm.
But we know nothing about him. Tuco is the character that we really learn about, and he's really the heart of the film. And then Angel Eyes is a bastard,
Yep.
and Lee Van Cleef is so cold and calculating, and he's a big man. Him and Clint Eastwood next to each other is perfect, and obviously building off of their work in For a Few Dollars More
Mm-hmm.
together. And that scene at the beginning with Angel Eyes interrogating that guy at the table is the basis for the opening sequence of Inglorious Bastards, like almost shot for shot.
Mm-hmm.
Tarantino pulled from that. So if you think that's one of the greatest scenes of all time, you should watch this movie and see where that came from. It's so fascinating and it's intense. It is thrilling. It is funny. Tuco is hilarious
Yep.
as a character, and Eli Wallach is one of my favorites. He's the best performance in this movie. And then that final moment, like when that camera pans up and Tuco's face is framed within that noose, and you're just like, oh no. And him just running up screaming. Uh, and Blondie is just so perfect, and him just riding off.
Yep.
Just incredible movie. Well, that was my number two as well.
I wonder what your number one will be. That's because like
I know what
I
your number one is, so pull off the band-aid and tell us.
so another Sergio Leone baby.
Yep.
Once Upon a Time in the West. And again, this and like tomorrow, if you ask me, this could be my number two, and the bad, the ugly could be number one. But for now, this is what it is. And like copy and paste what we said, except Henry Ford. Obviously, like he's playing against type. He's the villain in this movie, and
Mhm.
that's one thing. Charles Bronson just being the main harmonica in this movie. The openings, if we talk about the end, the opening sequence to this movie, that became iconic. Just the long, like 10 minute or so, just waiting for the train. Just nothing happens. But the shot is so beautiful. You're like, okay, I don't actually mind. And then you just feel the dirt in the air. You feel the kind of like humidity. You feel like everything is kind of sticking to you as you're watching it. And then he shows up. No, you brought one too many horses.
Where
And
he's like, it looks like we forgot a horse. Like, no, you brought two too many.
mm,
And that just like Charles Bronson
yep.
accent and everything. I'm just like,
And then like and Ennio Morricone, the soundtrack. Like if there's anything more iconic than the good, the bad, and the ugly, it must be this soundtrack. The fact that this man has not won an Oscar until, well, he had honorary Oscar in like 2000s, but
yeah.
like until Hateful Eight.
In 2015.
The fact that's how you know, like, hey, look, I love Oscars, but like Oscars are not the end all be all, because like
Yeah.
this man was producing this quality every time and was not recognized for it. It's insane. But this, and yeah, and talk about heartbreaking ending. The moment you learn about Harmonica's backstory, why they call him Harmonica, and how it actually fits in the story we've been following, it is heartbreaking. Then you have
Yeah.
Claudia Cardinale, one of the most stunning women that's ever been on a screen, and just like there. I'm like, holy shit. Like you have, again, like this movie sings on so many fronts. And and I miss those epics where it's like almost
Yeah.
3 hours, but you cannot really remove a minute or a frame because that would kind of break the movie. Like like I always say, does the movie justify its length? These two are two long ass movies, and they both justify their length. They sing song about their length, and you are eating it up.
The I think there's like four separate music themes in this movie that are just incredible.
And became
Like,
iconic, and like
yeah,
like many people know them from like, this is what kind of breaks my heart. Many people know themes from this movie from like commercials, ads,
yeah.
because they are so good. Like, oh yeah, this is from this fucking ad for this like soap. No, this is from this fucking movie first.
Well, because they each of these characters have their own themes,
Hmm.
and Charles Bronson was not an actor with a ton of range, but boy, did he play a steely character like this. And when like Cheyenne pushes the lamp in and it comes up and lights him
Yes,
up, and he just said, like, that is a cool ass
the music
moment.
swells up.
Yeah, and he already got a cool ass entrance at the beginning with when that train goes by, he's just standing there. He just like he eliminates those three guys. He's like, bam. And Henry Fonda is so intense
Hmm.
and terrifying. Like that moment where they reveal it's Henry Fonda and he shoots a kid, and you're just like, there's a meta contextual layer to that because Henry Fonda was like the all American actor.
Yes.
And those like, oh my God. And also Jason Robards, who I think is one of my favorite actors that not enough people talk about
Hmm.
as Cheyenne, is so good in this. He is such a great wild card to this whole situation. And the whole build up to that final shootout
Hmm.
and the reveal of who harmonica is heartbreaking and incredibly rendered filmmaking wise. It was just something incredible for sure.
Yes. Yes. No, it's such an insane, like the lantern scene I forgot. Yeah. I think we talked about this before. I think I watched this movie when I was like 13, like 12, 13, like very young. But even me watching it when I was very young, I recognized, hey, this is like filmmaking. This is something extra. This is something special.
This is like an extra thick 2 disc DVD set that I have of this. And it looks like such an old like school DVD and stuff like that. This was a film that Jess showed me when we first
Nice.
started dating for the first time. So
Nice.
like, and I'm glad she did because it is epic.
It is.
So we've certainly talked about some of the greatest westerns of all
Mhm.
time. And my number one is the greatest neo-western of all time, and that is No Country for Old Men.
Oh,
Because
I'm surprised.
Hell or High Hell or High Water like was birthed from
Mhm.
the fact that like this is like the Coen brothers have made one of the greatest revisionist westerns in their true grit,
Mhm.
and they made arguably the greatest neo-western ever with No Country for Old Men. This Cormac McCarthy novel just exemplifies all of those challenging themes that you can explore within the Western genre. Because this is the ultimate law versus lawlessness, where the law loses because the law just doesn't understand
Hmm.
the lawlessness.
Hmm.
And what Anton Chigurh represents in this film is terrifying. And, one of my favorite lawmen in the history of film is Sheriff Tom Bell. And Tommy Lee Jones is so perfect in this movie. And he just brings this stature, this presence. He's hilarious. And we're like Garrett Dillahunt's like, Sheriff, we need to put out like a APB on this guy. It's like, well, what's it gonna say? Looking for man who recently drank milk. As he's pouring himself a glass of milk and sitting there, I'm just like, damn, that was cold and hilarious. And this movie's actually hilarious in that Coen Brothers kind of way, but it's so like bleakly dark too in that balance. And love Josh Brolin. I think this is the first thing that I saw Josh Brolin in that wasn't the Goonies.
Hmm.
So like that's a little bit different. And him as Llewellyn Moss is just this. He's a flawed man, and it's very interesting because in the book he's a lot younger,
Hmm.
and which I think makes a lot. I think that's a more obvious thing, but Josh Brolin was such a great bit of casting here. And then what Javier Bardem does as Anton Chigurh is terrifying, unnerving. Call it. Don't put that in your pocket. And just that whole entire scene at that gas station. And the Coen brothers are the kings of minor actor casting.
Hmm.
There's so many like the guy at the gas station, the woman at the motel. It's like we don't give out that type of information. The woman at Llewellyn's trailer park and everything, and like the guy at the border crossing is like, "Are you sassing me, boy?" And just like the whole entire dynamic of everything. Woody Harrelson in this. You have Stephen Root, and I love Kelly MacDonald and her final scene with Anton Chigurh is so terrifying and unnerving. This is a deeply rich film, and I remember watching this being like, "What the shit was that ending?" when I was like 19,
Hmm.
and then realizing the weight of what that story says, and it's like, then I woke up.
Hmm.
And this is a challenging film. It subverts all narrative expectations. Your quote unquote main character dies off screen, and you're just like, "What?" And it just the opening sequence of this movie is one of my favorite opening sequences in any movie, where Sugar kills that cop, and just the whole terror of it, while Tommy Lee Jones is delivering some of the best narration you're going to hear in a movie. It just and the deacons of it all.
Hmm.
Damn, Roger Deakins. This doesn't even have any score in the movie.
Okay.
Carter Burwell just has some score during the credits, but
Hmm.
like this is just an incredibly intense. Like one of my favorite scenes of all time is that cat and mouse sequence where Sugar finds Llewellyn and they get in that kind of like shootout and stuff like that at night. That is so intense and so perfectly put together. This film. If you want to watch a film that shows you just the power of visual storytelling, this is it.
See, I will sound like a broken record because that's a movie I desperately need to rewatch. Because, like, I remember watching it when it came out, so I would have been 16, and I was like,
Mm.
this is fine. This is fine movie. It's okay. It's okay. And I know, like, I didn't process everything properly because I was like, this is kind of underwhelming. So this is one of those I need to rewatch. I definitely need to rewatch. But also, I remember like when you were talking about, I was like, I remember this scene. I remember this scene. So I think that kind of shows how impactful this movie was, even if I didn't enjoy it. I kind of remember this scene. Yeah, well, I remember this scene. But also, I am surprised, Shane. You mentioned meat pies, and your favorite western not being Mad Max Fury Road. I'm shocked.
I I made an executive decision to kind of highlight a little bit more like
Yeah.
westerns because like Fury Road's my number two movie of all time.
Hmm.
So like if I include that, it would have been my number one.
Yeah.
Because Mad Max is western,
Hmm.
like it truly is. From all of them are in their own different types of ways,
Hmm.
and now Fury Road is like one of the peak like weird westerns, and like what you're able to do with this genre
Hmm.
is so interesting.
But yeah,
And
oh,
Max Rockatansky is also one of the prototypical grifter
mhm,
type anti-heroes for sure.
100%. So given I bet you probably have much more honorable mentions than I do because I only have five. So why don't you start?
Well, no, throw out your
Oh,
quick, and if you'll humor me,
hmm.
I have an essential westerns
Oh,
letterbox list, and I'm just gonna quick run down what's on there. I'm not gonna go into any detail, just so that all of you listeners out there can have a whole nice, interesting list. And you should check out my letterbox list because if you want to dive into westerns, there's a whole bunch of different types. So, what are your honorable mentions, quick?
okay. So I only have five.
Yep.
Because yeah, Letterboxd and IMDb tells me that I've only seen 75 and 88 or 88 depending on the platform and how they. So I'm like that
Yeah.
is, and I've looked over 5,000 movies. I'm like that is awfully low. I'm like okay, but hey. So my honorable mentions: Tombstone, great movie.
Yep.
Bacurau, which is a Brazilian movie that's you
It's on
can
mine too.
you can
Yep.
argue that's kind of like, hey, what if like seven samurai didn't need like like the village didn't need seven samurai, they became the samurai and like and show them
Yeah.
how it's done in Brazil. That's a
It's such a
fucking great.
weird, like, I remember that coming out during COVID and
Hmm.
just being like, this is one of the weirdest, craziest movies,
Yep,
and I love it.
yep, same.
Yep.
For a few dollars more, like
Yep.
great movie. Speaking of our good friend Quentin, The Hateful Eight.
Yep.
Hateful Eight, I love that movie not only because of Ennio Morricone finally getting his long overdue Oscar, but no, I genuinely like. Maybe this is my favorite Tarantino movie. Again, I know I'm on an island. I know.
You're not, that's like, that's my one of my top three. I
Oh,
love the Hateful Eight.
same. Like, and one of
Yeah.
those that I love that they included the actual intermission within the cinema, meaning like I
I
actually
did
went to
see
see it.
that. Yeah.
Yes, I actually also like it was here included, so that made it for
Mhm.
a pleasant, nice cinema experience. More intermissions, please, if your movie is 3 hours fucking long. Thank you. And the last one, The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, because that's
Yep.
like a classic western that's definitely worth a shot, and
Mhm.
the Humphrey Bogart of it all is very nice.
Yep. So I'm going to quick run through this list. So we
Hmm.
got three Bad Men and three Godfathers, which are a couple of John Ford films.
Hmm.
Both three tend to Yumas are
Yes.
worth checking out, especially the James Mangold one.
Hmm.
The assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford.
Hmm.
Baccarat. Bad Day at Blackrock, which is a great neo western with Spencer Tracy. The Beguiled, both versions, honestly.
Hmm.
The Clint Eastwood and then the Colin Farrell. Blazing Saddles, hilarious,
Yes.
also amazing western. Bone Tomahawk, if you want to watch a horror western,
Oh
holy
yeah.
shit. Brokeback Mountain, Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid,
Hmm. Hmm.
by Indian Post, which is one of John Ford's 19 teens
Uh-huh.
westerns. So like really early. Hannibal the musical from Trey Parker and Matt Stone. City Slickers, The
Mm.
Cowboys with John Wayne, Dead Man from Jim Jarmusch and Johnny Depp. Desperado
Oh yeah.
from Robert Rodriguez and Antonio Banderas.
Mm.
I can't even read the poster. Oh, The Devil's Backbone from Guillermo del Toro, which has some interesting Western motifs.
Hmm.
The original Django with
Yes.
Franco Nero, and then Django Unchained.
Hmm. Hmm.
Drums Along the Mohawk, which is a John Ford film, A Fistful of Dollars for a few dollars more. Fort Apache, which is, I think, one of John Ford's best Westerns. Furiosa, and I'll get to the rest of the Mad Max. Go West from Buster Keaton. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. The Good, the Bad, and the Weird,
I
which
heard
is a
about this.
fantastic
Korean, right?
film too. Yep.
Yep.
The Great Train Robbery. Gunfight at the OK Corral, which, if you love Tombstone, this one has Kirk Douglas and Burt Lancaster in it.
Oh, nice.
Gregory Peck and the Gunfighter. Love that movie.
Hmm.
Hang 'em High, another Clint Eastwood one. Hateful Eight, Hell or High Water, High Noon,
Hmm.
incredible classic Western. One of my favorite Clint Eastwood's Hell or High Plains Drifter,
Hmm.
which is a supernatural Western,
That is a very
which is
good.
really which
Yeah.
is really interesting. Um, Hostels from Scott Cooper, love that. How the West Was Won, The Last of the Mohicans, Logan, all the other Mad Max movies.
Yep.
The Magnificent Seven, A Man Called Horse that had Richard Harris in it, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, El Mariachi,
Hmm.
Maverick,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
Mel Gibson,
Yes.
James Garner, Jodie Foster, My Darling Clementine, which is yet another version of Tombstone, but from John Ford. National Anthem. Love this movie.
Oh.
Very queer romance and like Western motifs. No Country, like I mentioned. Nocturnal Animals. The film, the story within the film is a neo-Western. Once Upon a Time in Mexico, Once Upon a Time in the West, of course, like you mentioned. Open Range,
Yes.
Outlaw Johnny Black. Love this movie. This is such a great time. From Michael Jai White, The Outlaw Josie Wales, Pale Rider, The Power of the Dog, The Proposition, which is like the prototypical actual like meat pie western from
Hmm.
Australia, The Quick and the Dead from
Mm.
Sam Raimi, tons of fun. Rancho Notorious from Fritz Lang is interesting. Rango, The Revenant, Rio Bravo, Rio Grande, The Road, The Rover, which is another great Australian neo-western. The Searchers, like I talked about before. Sergeant Rutledge, which was one of the ones that I loved most from my John Ford deep dive.
Hmm.
The movie that gave me my name, Kane. She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, another great John Ford Western. The Shootist, which is John Wayne's final film. Silverado from Lawrence Kasdan is a ton of fun. Slow West, which is one of the best Westerns of the last 10 years or so. Stagecoach, There Will Be Blood. Three Amigos.
Yes.
You mentioned Tombstone. El Topo from um, Alejandro Jodorowsky,
Hmm.
The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, Tremors, because of course, both True Grits, mentioned Unforgiven, Wagon Master, love that movie from
Mm.
John Ford, Westworld,
Oh yeah.
The Wild Bunch, and Wind River. And there's certainly more, but I need to update that a little bit from some of the ones I've watched recently. But that's a great place to start to get a nice range of different westerns.
I've seen quite a few of those, and I have heard about many others. I'm like, they are on my radar. And obviously, like, I've never heard of some of them, like, the John Ford ones, because I didn't deep dive John
I've
Ford
watched them
as,
all.
yes, as somebody I know did. Yes.
All of them.
All
So
of them.
many of them. But
Yes.
yeah,
But Shane, okay, this was a blast. I think it was a good episode. So before we say goodbye, what's the one thing you would like to recommend?
um, this is a tough choice.
Hmm.
I want to. I'm gonna recommend The Furious,
Oh, nice.
which is the most unhinged action movie of 2026 you're gonna see. There is a 2v2v1 fight at the end of this movie,
Hmm.
which is one of the most unhinged bonkers fight scenes I've ever watched in a movie.
Okay.
This is such a awesome amalgamation of different Asian fighting styles all thrown into one movie. And the performers in this are just top tier. And it's about crowd trafficking, has weight to it, has mystery and emotion to it, all rolled into a movie with like six action set pieces that are all like incredible action set pieces. So like people should see this. Like if you love The Raid
Hmm.
and The Raid 2 and in that out of that type of tradition of crazy action films and a couple of the Raid actors are in this as well.
Hmm.
Go check this movie out.
I'm looking at it right now because you're not the first one who mentioned this movie that's coming out. And it's from a Tanigaki who looks like he's going through the route. Hey, I used to do stunts. Now I'm gonna direct movies
Yeah.
because he apparently used to do stunts on movies such as Blade 2, Snake Eyes, and Mortal Kombat Annihilation. But
Oh my.
that is not his. That movie is not his fault. I'll just say. No, but that like
There's so many things wrong with that movie.
100%. But no, like, that sounds awesome. That sounds like I'm looking for like I it wasn't on my radar at all. But you're like a third person I hear talking about like how great this movie is. So I need to
I
watch.
saw May loved it too.
Yes.
So
Yeah. On so I have so many like Disclosure Day is great. I can talk about that. But like look, like go see it in the cinemas. You don't need me. I will
yep.
recommend this movie from 1961 if I'm not mistaken called Barefoot in a Park,
Okay.
starring very young Jane Fonda and very young Robert Redford,
Mm,
who this is the movie. So apparently, I didn't know this. Robert Redford has made before this like three movies in a row that all bombed massively. So he basically, effectively, apparently gave up on his career as an actor, was fucking around in Greece for a year, just like living his life as a hunker, Robert Redford was, and he only got back because he had a contractual obligation to make more movies for this one studio. So he's like, okay, I'll just make this movie. This was his first success, like box office success, and this is why we have gotten Robert Redford as a movie star.
there you
And
go.
this movie is such a blast. Effectively like a rom com, kinda, but it's not that. It's more like it's about newlyweds, Jane Fonda, Robert Redford, both like extremely attractive people. I'm like, holy
Yep.
shit! Like you forget how Jane Fonda used to be. Like, basically, this movie is like, by the way, hey Jane, do you know how you have very nice legs? You need to show them off in this movie a lot. So there's a lot of like, she's kind of like pantsless, where you don't see her panties, but like she's wearing a lot of like long shirts. And I'm like,
Hmm.
damn, Jane Fonda had those legs. Okay. And it's about basically them being newlyweds, spending first 5 days in a hotel room
Hmm.
and moving in together, and then realizing, hey, Jane Fonda is this hippy dippy chick that's basically like, oh yeah, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this. And Robert Redford wants to be this up and coming lawyer. He's very prim and proper, like everything needs to be planned, and how they need to either divorce because they are so different, or
Yeah.
find out how to live with each other. And such a fascinating, it's a quirky movie. It's like, it takes some wild turns where you end up in like Algerian restaurant, or they make up like a nation, like in this like a random restaurant with this
Mm.
neighbor. And I miss those movies where it's like, hey, this is quirky because we have a guy kind of living in our attic, but it belongs to him, so he needs to go through our bedroom window. Like, there are scenes like that in this movie, and it felt weirdly cozy, and I absolutely adored it. This is such a nice, like, I basically after this movie finished, I'm like, I need to find it on Blu-ray. I need to have that on my shelf because this felt like such a cozy movie, and it's funny. It's witty. You can tell this was a play. It's based on a play because it's like a lot of like, hey, one setting for like 30 minutes. We're gonna spend in one location for 30 minutes. There is a gag that they live on the top floor, like sixth floor, so everybody just basically is out of the breath by the time they
Mm.
get to them. I don't know if have you watched the chain?
I haven't seen this one. I've heard of it.
It's it's
I think I'm
great.
pretty sure like it got brought up because of Robert Redford passing and
Yeah,
that whole awkward should have been Jane
Jane Fonda.
Fonda.
Yes, yes, yeah. Barbara made it weird. I like Barbara, but
He
she
did
made it
make it
fucking
weird.
weird. Okay, I'll die on this hill. But anyway, it's such a great old-fashioned rom-com that like again, it feels very cozy. I don't know how else to describe it. Like the way like it feels very like, oh yeah, I can imagine myself putting it on a random Sunday afternoon. Like, it's that type of movie. It will not change your life, but it's like one of those like, I like to spend time with these people, right? What helps
Yeah.
is it's Robert Redford and Jane Fonda and like their peak of like how like their hotness that's also is helping a lot. But no, great, great, great movie. Like strong recommend.
I'm pretty sure it's on my watch list somewhere. Oh my obscenely
Yeah,
long watch list.
it's I don't know about America, but I only watched it because it's on Amazon Prime in the UK. So if you have Prime subscription, it's there for free. You don't have to pay for it. So
You know?
and this is how how he talked about this. I stumbled upon this. I was like, oh, what's to watch for you next? I was, oh, Barefoot
Yep.
and okay, okay, okay.
Thanks, Amazon.
Yes.
Um, I think this would be cool to do some other genres like this at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we want to keep it fresh and try different things, but
Yeah.
I think an action movie
Ooh. Yes.
one would be a blast for sure.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah,
I
so
think
there's
yeah.
our discussion of westerns.
Exactly. I think that's another episode in a can. So Shane, if people enjoy our talk, what's the best place for them to follow you?
So you can check out the Wasteland Reviewer Instagram page where I shamelessly plug all the things that I do over on the Wasteland Reviewer YouTube channel where I review new films and have a weekly show. Welcome to the Wasteland. Over on my website, I have written reviews for new films and as well as some monthly articles, wastelandreviewer.blog. I have all my podcasts here on the SPDM crew, and I contribute to sifpop.com and Knock on Wood Film. And you could always check out my letterbox. Honestly, the most interesting thing on my letterbox at the moment is my obscene amount of lists.
Yeah.
So explore those.
Yes. And for me, as always, it's either here every other Friday or on Letterboxd in Movies Lost. Simple as that. And as Shane mentioned, we are part of SPDM crew and ever so grateful. And until next time, bye bye.
Bye.